All right, so we're diving into Broadcom's performance over 2024. And it's a little, well, confusing, right?
Yeah,
We've got record revenue. They just bumped up their dividend. Investors should be happy.
right. You'd think so.
But the stock, AVGO, hasn't really budged after their Q4 earnings call.
Right.
So we've got their press releases and earnings call transcript.
Yeah.
Let's see what story those are telling us.
You know what really stands out to me is the sense that Broadcom's going through this big transformation, almost a shift in tone from management throughout the year.
Yeah.
Two big themes keep popping up, integrating the VMware acquisition, that was huge, and how they're handling this insane growth in their AI business.
Okay, let's start with VMware. Sounds like that integration is going well, at least profit-wise, beating their targets.
Yeah, ahead of schedule, too.
But is there more to this than just, smooth sailing?
Well, they're really pushing VMware towards private cloud,
Hmm.
specifically their VMware Cloud Foundation, VCF. Bookings for that in Q4 hit $2.7 billion annually.
Wow.
That's a big chunk of revenue from just one product.
Right.
So I guess the question is, are they putting all their eggs in one basket,
And what about those spending cuts?
Oh, yeah,
Feels like classic Broadcom, squeezing every bit of efficiency out.
totally, their playbook.
But could that backfire?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, are they sacrificing long-term innovation just to make the numbers look good now?
That's a good point. All right, let's move on to the AI side. 220% revenue growth, hitting $12.2 billion.
Yeah, that's huge.
That's 41% of their whole semiconductor business. They're not just riding the AI wave, they're practically like making the surfboard.
That's a good way to put it. And it's important to understand what's driving that growth.
Right.
They're making these custom AI chips. They call them XPUs.
Okay.
They're super optimized for, AI tasks. Think of it like this. If a normal CPU is a computer's brain, an XPU is like a specialized AI brain.
Oh, I see. So they're providing the brains.
Exact.
But they're also going for the nervous system, right?
That's right.
All their high bandwidth networking stuff.
Mm.
That connects these XPUs into powerful clusters.
Mm-hmm.
So they're offering a complete AI infrastructure package.
Exactly. And that's where Broadcom sees their future. They're betting big on being the supplier for AI infrastructure.
Mm.
They even projected a $60 to $90 billion market by 2027 just from 3 of their hyperscale AI customers.
Whoa, hold on. That's an insane number. But they're banking their future on just a handful of clients.
Yeah, that's the thing. This AI growth, it's amazing, but it comes with risks.
I bet.
It's really concentrated, and it depends on these huge XPU deployments. What if those get delayed or even canceled?
Yeah.
Those projections could vanish.
So we've got potential VMware issues, aggressive cost cutting, and this concentrated AI bet. Things are not as rosy as they might seem at first glance.
Yeah, there are definitely cracks in the facade.
Let's zoom in on the quarterly results, see how this played out over the year. Q1, they started strong. 34% year-on-year revenue growth, almost $12 billion. Even without VMware, organic growth was 11%. That's solid.
Yeah, and their free cash flow for Q1, taking out restructuring, was almost $5.5 billion.
Okay.
Gave them some room to start paying down that debt from the VMware purchase. But was it enough? I don't know.
Then Q2, revenue jumps even higher, $12.5 billion.
Wow.
43% increase year-on-year.
Yeah.
They also did that 10-for-1 stock split that quarter, maybe trying to attract more investors, drum up some excitement.
Maybe, but it also dilutes existing shares. Could be a sign that management's worried about the stock performance and trying to, create some buzz.
Interesting point. Then Q3, revenue keeps climbing, $13.1 billion.
Yeah.
47% year-on-year increase. This is where things get interesting. AI was still strong, but their non-AI semiconductor business, particularly networking, was starting to recover.
Right. Remember that segment was struggling earlier in the year?
Yeah, that rebound, I think it's probably tied to what's happening in the industry as a whole.
Yeah. Could be demand for networking equipment's picking up, with 5G and cloud computing taking off.
Right.
Not necessarily a Broadcom-specific success story there.
And then Q4, they wrapped up the year with a bang.
Yeah.
51% year-on-year revenue growth, hitting $14.1 billion.
Wow.
Even without VMware, organic growth was 11%. Not bad. But is it good enough considering all the hype around their AI business?
Right, that's the question, isn't it?
Yeah.
On paper, the numbers are fantastic, but when you look closer, consider the risks, the concentration, those potential delays, the market sentiment.
Yeah.
That flat stock reaction starts to make more sense.
Yeah, it does. Let's unpack those Q4 numbers a little more. Their networking segment, up a crazy 45% year on year.
Yeah, AI driving that bus, right?
Yeah, mainly.
Yeah.
They doubled their AI XPU shipments and revenue from their AI connectivity stuff. That went up 4x. So those Tomahawk and Jericho products, so the ones connecting those massive AI clusters, they're flying off the shelves.
Right.
But is this a one-time thing? Can they keep this momentum going?
That's the million-dollar question. AI infrastructure, those deployments, they tend to be lumpy.
What do you mean?
They can swing wildly from quarter to quarter. One big customer pushes a project back, those numbers could tank.
Right.
And then there's the competition. NVIDIA, they're a beast in the AI chip space.
True.
Can Broadcom really hold their own against a giant like that?
That's a good question. Competition is fierce out there. And who knows what new tech could come along and just make their XPUs obsolete overnight.
Yeah, that's always a risk.
Seems like investors are weighing those risks against the potential rewards. It's a high-stakes game.
Yeah.
Not everyone's ready to jump in yet.
Exactly.
What about their other segments?
So server and storage, 20% rebound in Q4 after hitting bottom 6 months earlier. That's something, at least.
Yeah, but still down 23% year on year, right?
Yeah, you're right. The broader semiconductor market, it hasn't fully bounced back. That uncertainty's probably got investors a little spooked.
Speaking of uncertainty, what about that VMware transition? Are they really changing things up, or is it just a fresh coat of paint on an old house,
It's hard to say for sure. Those strong VCF bookings, that's promising.
Yeah.
But is it sustainable? Maybe it's just a blip as they move existing customers over to the new platform. We need to watch those churn numbers over the next few quarters. If they can get a big chunk of those VMware customers onto their subscription model, that private cloud focus, then maybe they're onto something big.
Yeah.
But what if customers don't like the changes? What if they start looking elsewhere?
Good point. It's like Broadcom's juggling a bunch of balls in the air, and investors are holding their breath to see if they drop any.
Yeah, good analogy.
And this brings us back to that flat stock reaction. Maybe it's not just the numbers, it's the story.
Yeah.
The confidence or lack of confidence in management's ability to pull all this off.
It's about believability. Investors want consistency, predictability.
Yeah.
They want to see that VMware integration really adding value, the AI growth lasting, and that non-AI semiconductor business weathering the storm,
Right, make it through the cycle.
Until they see that proof, they're going to stay cautious.
Okay, so we've got potential VMware issues, uncertainty around AI, and those broader semiconductor market worries. Recipe for investor hesitation, for sure. But Broadcom's not exactly broke. They pulled in $19.4 billion in free cash flow in 2024. That's up 10% year on year. Yeah, that's a lot of cash.
That's serious firepower.
And they're definitely sharing the wealth. That 11% dividend bump, that's a signal. They're pretty confident about their cash flow, even with all this potential volatility.
But is returning cash the best move right now? Should they be investing more aggressively, especially in AI, solidify their position, fight off the competition?
Some investors are asking that same question. I mean, they're dropping $12.4 billion on share buybacks, says they think their stock's undervalued. But maybe pouring that money into future growth would be smarter. Yeah. Tough choice. Reward current shareholders or invest for the future. What will they do? How will that impact things down the line?
It's a decision that'll shape the company, that's for sure. Investors are watching every move, trying to read the tea leaves.
So for our listeners out there, what does this all mean? Broadcom, it's a mixed bag, right? Lots of potential, lots of risk. Big bet on AI, but facing headwinds in other areas.
If you're thinking about investing in Broadcom, you got to ask yourself some tough questions. Do you buy into this long-term AI strategy? Are you okay with the risks, the ups and downs? Do you trust management to navigate all this?
This deep dive, it's just a starting point. We've given you the info, the insights, the questions to ask.
Yeah.
Now it's your turn. Do your own research, come to your own conclusions. Don't just take the headlines and analyst reports at face value. Dig deeper. Challenge those assumptions. Think for yourself.
Investing, it's about probabilities, not guarantees. There's no sure thing. But understand the risks and the opportunities, see things from different angles, use your judgment. That's how you increase your odds of success.
We've covered a lot of ground today.
Yeah, we have.
But there's always more to learn. Broadcom's story, it's still unfolding. Stay tuned to their earnings calls, their press releases, what's happening in the industry.
Absolutely.
And most importantly, keep learning. Keep asking those tough questions. Keep digging deeper. That's what makes a smart investor. Okay, we've talked numbers, risks, potential. But what about the human side of things? What's management saying? What clues are they giving us?
One thing that really jumps out is how much they talk about operational efficiency, like all the time.
Hmm?
Tan, their CEO, he seems laser focused on cutting costs,
Yeah.
both in their core semiconductor business and within VMware.
Makes sense. Classic Broadcom move. But squeezing margins like that, is that sustainable? Are they sacrificing, I don't know, future innovation and growth just to boost profits in the short term? Makes you wonder if they're trying to pretty up the company, make it attractive for a sale.
Yeah, it's possible. Broadcom, they've got a history, right? Acquisitions, divestitures, they're not afraid to shake things up.
Right.
But no hard evidence of a sale on the horizon yet.
Right, just speculation. Something else I noticed, their take on the overall semiconductor market. They know there's a downturn happening, especially outside of AI,
Yeah.
but they're still optimistic about the long-term demand for, you know, high bandwidth networking, advanced computing.
Makes sense. I mean, that optimism, it comes from their belief in AI. They
Right.
see it as this mega trend, not just a fad. But they're also betting that the rest of the semiconductor market will recover.
So they're hedging, right? Hoping if AI doesn't explode like they expect, their other segments can pick up the slack.
Yeah.
But is that realistic?
It's a tough one. Semiconductors, it's a cyclical industry, super competitive. Can Broadcom really beat the odds?
And let's not forget the big one. Investor sentiment. Management's all positive, but the market's not buying it. Why that disconnect?
It comes down to trust. Credibility.
Hmm.
Investors have heard these promises before, right?
Wow.
Company hikes up some new tech, promises the world, and then nothing.
Right.
They've been burned before. They need to see results, not just hear the talk.
So Broadcom needs to prove themselves. Not with words, but with, solid, consistent financial performance.
Yeah, show that the VMware integration's working, the AI growth is real, and that their other segments are pulling their weight.
Until then, the stock price is probably going to stay stuck, reflecting that uncertainty, that skepticism. It's a waiting game now for the company and for their investors.
Yeah.
So big picture, what have we learned from this deep dive into Broadcom's 2024? We saw big revenue growth, driven by that strategic bet on AI.
Yeah.
But we also found some potential red flags. Concentration in AI, aggressive cost cutting, and this gap between what management's saying and how investors are feeling.
Broadcom's at a crossroads. They could become the name in AI infrastructure. But they've got some big challenges to overcome, both inside and outside the company. The next few years, those are going to be crucial.
This is just the beginning of the story.
Yep.
Broadcom's journey is going to be a wild ride. Stay informed, follow their progress, and come to your own conclusions.
Investing, it's all about learning. There are no easy answers, no guarantees.
Right.
But stay curious, ask the tough questions, dig deeper. That's how you become a better, more confident investor.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
Hope you found it useful, got you thinking. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, keep digging deeper.
Closing disclaimer. Thank you for listening to Deep Dive to Earning Calls. Before we wrap up, I want to remind everyone that this podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only. The insights shared are based on my analysis and supported by advanced AI-generated insights. While I aim to provide accurate and thoughtful commentary, the information shared may not always be complete or free from error. I am not a financial advisor, and this podcast does not constitute financial, investment, tax, or legal advice. Always do your own research, consult a licensed professional, and carefully consider your personal financial situation before making any decisions. Investing involves risks, including the potential loss of your principal. Past performance is not indicative of future results. Thanks again for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next episode.